Talk Live, featuring guest hosts from around the country, live guests, and your phone calls. CNBC's Talk Weekend, right here, right now. Tonight, live from Studio 2 at CNBC, it's Talk Live with director, writer, actor, former Saturday Night Live cast member, voice of The Simpsons, Harry Shearer.
Oh, hello. Welcome to Talk Live. I'm Harry Shearer, one of the voices of The Simpsons. That announcer will be reprimanded. You know, we originate here in Fort Lee, New Jersey, and while it's not the biggest little city on earth, the building that CNBC is located in has 3 lobbies. Count them. If you get stuck in the wrong lobby, it's like you're in one of the circles of Dante's Inferno. But we're up here in heaven where Talk Live originates. It's part of CNBC's Talk Weekend. The talk starts at 7 p.m. Eastern, Friday through Sunday, with John McLaughlin. Then it's different Talk Live hosts each night at 8 and 10, with Dick Cavett at 9:30. Me, I'm supposed to tell you a little bit about myself. Well, like our first guest tonight, I'm part of the Fox television series The Simpsons. I do some of the voices. He's one of the creators of the show. He is the creator, as a matter of fact, and one of the executive producers. Like 2 others of our guests tonight, I'm in journalism. I dabble in it. They're professionals. I write a column for the Los Angeles Sunday Times Magazine. And like our 4th guest tonight, I'm a former member of the cast of Saturday Night Live, and very proud to be formerly from Saturday Night Live. So, given that commonality of interest between host and guests, I think I can guarantee that the next 90 minutes will be more entertaining and informative than any 3 infomercials you could watch, except for the one where Ron Popeil shows the new thing to clean your toilet. That's good TV. Okay, on now with tonight's show, and our first guest is, as promoted, a man who created television's most dysfunctional family. He's, I'm happy to call him a friend. He's a colleague. He's my boss. He's via satellite from Los Angeles, Matt Groening. Matt, good evening.
Hi, Harry.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine.
I had no idea you were going to be doing this from New Jersey. I was quite surprised to show up in this studio and find myself alone staring at a camera.
Alone again.
Yeah. But you know what? In the parking lot outside, and I've discovered this is what I'm going to do at my parking spot at Fox, it says sheriff. And I didn't, in these parking spots, and I don't know who sheriff is, but I would never park in a spot labeled sheriff. This reminds me of...
But you did tonight, right?
Well, no, I didn't.
You didn't? You didn't park in the space assigned to you?
No, I parked in front of a hydrant, because I'm not going to park in sheriff's spot. Who knows what sheriff?
Well, so you parked at hydrant spot.
Yes.
Well,
in college, I had the same problem. Someone always used to steal my milk in the dorm.
Yes.
And I put my name on it, and they still stole it. But I figured out a solution. I wrote milk experiment on the carton, and no one touched my milk.
No one ever stole it again?
No.
Well, you should have just added experiment, so it would say sheriff experiment on the parking space, and then you could have parked there. Maybe next time. Maybe next time you're a guest on Talk Live. Matt, I participate in one segment of the whole process of putting The Simpsons on the air, and I don't really know what goes on the rest of the time, and I'm sure the viewers don't. Would you just take us on a step-by-step kind of survey of what the process is of putting that show together from start to finish?
Well, unlike most cartoons you see on television, there's a great deal of emphasis placed on the writing of The Simpsons. The Simpsons is put together by a staff of some of the funniest guys I've ever seen in my life, ever been cramped in a room, certainly with, for months on end. And it starts at the top. James L. Brooks, who developed the show along with Sam Simon, both of whom are absolutely brilliant writers and directors, and then a staff of very, very funny writers. And I can't emphasize it enough. We just write and rewrite and rewrite. As you know, we change lines all the time.
And of course, they wrote what you're saying now.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So that's how good they are.
That's why I'm so funny.
Right. So what happened? Yeah, go ahead.
No.
No, you go ahead. You're the guest. All right.
Anyway.
So the show is written.
The show is written. And then we take it to you guys, to the actors, and sit around and take notes. I don't know if you know what we're scribbling in those scripts while you're reading the lines. We're making little check marks. And then we go back into our writing room, which smells like stale Doritos for obvious reasons, and we compare check marks. And we argue whether or not a joke got as big a laugh from you guys at the table as we think it did. So, you know, a check mark that covers the entire page, that is a great page.
That's a hot page.
Usually we don't have those. However, it's really great. Whenever we have Itchy and Scratchy on the show, you laugh the loudest.
I love Itchy and Scratchy, and not just because I'm scratchy, but because there's something about Itchy and Scratchy. I don't know what it is. Yes, I do. It's true. I laugh like a maniac at those. So after we get finished, what happens? Doing the voices. We
record the voices. You know, as you know, we take an entire day down in the basement at 20th Century Fox and make you guys do the lines over and over again.
Over and over again.
Over and over again. And it's partly, you know, just the joy of seeing you guys struggle. And then we edit the show, we edit the soundtrack, and we turn it over to some very able directors, including Wes Archer, David Silverman, Rich Moore, Jim Reardon, and on and on. I know I've left some of you out, but who cares? And they come up with storyboards, and we tear those apart the same way we rewrite the show. In fact, one of the things about this show is that the reason why I think the show is as good as it is when it gets on the air is that these are jokes that we've lived with for half a year by the time you see it on the air. So we have to really like a joke for it to make it all the way to airtime.
An average show takes how long to go from start to finish before it gets to you?
About 6 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
And does it cost more or less than the normal sitcom to produce?
I think it's about the same because of the overpaid producers and actors.
You mean the struggling actors who can barely keep body and soul together? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, right, Harry.
Yeah. Matt Groening, the ungrateful Matt Groening, creator of The Simpsons, is our guest here on CNBC Talk Live, and we will return with more and your phone calls right after these extremely important messages. Please stay with us. That's the famous three-eyed fish episode of The Simpsons. Well, it's part of it. Of course, it goes 28 minutes. We can't show it all tonight. Fox people would sue us. Matt, it brings up an interesting point. I'm speaking with Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons and one of the executive producers of the show. There were rumors that were going around earlier this year that the third season of the show would be taking it easy on the nuclear industry. Do you have any comment on that? Is the third season...
No, I think we'll be as annoying to the nuclear industry as we have always been. You know, I mean, this show is so hard-hitting and realistic in our depiction of, you know, mutant fish. Little Blinky will return. We're going to have an actual, but I won't say if it's a real meltdown, but we approach meltdown at the nuclear power plant in the coming season.
What else is coming up in the season? As if I didn't know, but I mean, you know, I got a job to do. What else?
Yeah. By the way, do you have to take credit? You were Dave Shutton in that thing.
I was Dave Shutton. I think that's what the ad said. Harry Shearer is Dave Shutton.
And Otto the bus driver.
Oh, guilty again.
And Burns and Smithers.
Yes,
and about
yes.
half the rest of the voices.
Excellent, Matt. Thank you for that. But now, what special guests might we look forward to in this season of The Simpsons coming up?
Well, we're in a strange situation. For some reason, people are attracted to The Simpsons. Great actors and actresses call us up all the time and ask if they can do voices on the show, and then they do them, and they won't allow us to say whether it's them or not. And this has happened time and again. And, you know, and sometimes it really is the person, and sometimes it isn't.
So is there anybody we can mention that's going to be on?
We can mention Aerosmith. The rock group Aerosmith, for some reason, said, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
You can say that it's us. We have Sting coming up. We have Magic Johnson playing himself. We have Joe Montana. We have...
Not Joe Montana.
Is that how you pronounce it?
No, Joe Montana. I'm distinguishing...
No, not Joe
Joe Montana.
No, not Joe Montana.
Yeah.
Although
we tried.
He's playing Joe Montana. It's a strange thing.
And he's incredibly lifelike at it. By the way, I want you to know that not only are you not getting any money tonight, but the cameraman Liz here, camera person, you are getting money actually, because look what she bought. Can you see these? You can't see.
I can't see.
Well, I'm showing you. She's got a little Bart on a key ring, and then a smaller Bart Simpson Radical Dude badge. So you've made a little money tonight, even though...
Wait, but is it official merchandise? Because I think I want to use this opportunity to...
to warn against bootlegging?
To warn against bootlegging, because it's very hard to tell between the official Bart Simpson merchandise and the bootleg Bart Simpson merchandise.
Well, if he's black, it's bootleg. Wouldn't that be...
Well, for instance, can you tell whether this is official or not?
Not from this distance.
You can't see it?
Yeah.
Bart Sanchez.
Oh, hold it up right in front. Hold it right up in front of your face, Matt.
Right. Well, they just told me not to, but I will.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I would say that would. My bet would be bootleg.
Yes. He's holding a bubbling bottle. I assume that's an alcoholic beverage. Bart would never do that.
Right.
So that's the tip-off, and the sombrero, and the fact that he's called Bart Sanchez.
Are you wearing like a CNBC badge on your blazer, or is that just... Oh, that's our effect. I see. Okay. Let's get this. Well, I can't reach from here. Anything else we can look forward to in the third season that you can talk about?
Well, this coming week we have our premiere show. This next week features Homer Simpson wears a pink shirt to work and is instantly seen as a strange, weird nonconformist, and is committed to a mental hospital for observation. And his roommate in the mental hospital is a 300-pound, 6'8" white guy who thinks he's Michael Jackson.
And who
the singer.
Yeah, and who plays that part?
Yeah, the credit is John J. Smith.
I see. He's good. He's very good.
Yeah.
Let's take a call from Doug in Texas for Matt Groening. Hi, Doug. You're on the air.
Hi, I love the show. Love you guys. Keep
Thanks.
up the good work, and I want you to put Cosby off the air this year.
We'll try.
If you can, which I think you can, definitely. I got a question for both of you about Harry's voices. You do everybody on the show except for many of the principals.
Well, I do a lot of people.
Well, yeah, but the question is, do they save a massive amount of money paying you for just one person? And how do the unions feel about this? I mean, are you taking other jobs away from other voice actors?
Unions? Now, that's a good idea. We should have thought of unions. Doggone it. No, I really don't know. I try to bleed them white, Doug. I do my part to make it fair. Did we lose Matt? Or is Matt
I'm here.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
Here. No, we try to get the best actors we could for the parts. We try to use people that don't just do cartoon voices, and try for real emotions. And Harry's great at what he does.
I'm great at faking real emotions.
And by the way, all the actors on the show do multiple voices.
Yeah.
Harry happens to be particularly versatile and probably does more than and definitely does more than anyone else on the show as far as different voices. In fact, he plays with himself quite a bit in the show. Okay. Back and forth.
Vocally only. Because
vocally.
People have gotten arrested for this recently, and I'd like to stay clean as long as I can. We're talking with Matt Groening, who's the creator of The Simpsons, and we're talking about The Simpsons. We welcome your phone calls. We'll take more of them in our next segment.
We took one.
Well,
okay.
More than one. That's
Okay.
what we'll do. That's the plan. And we will return here on Talk Live right after these extremely important messages. I'm going to watch. That's how important they are. Stay with us. That Barty cracks me up. We're talking with the executive producer, one of the executive producer and the creator of The Simpsons, Matt Groening, and by we, I mean me and Rich in California. Good evening, Rich.
How you doing, guys?
Okay, how are you?
Hi.
Pretty good. Hey, Matt, I really love the show, and hear your voice is great as scratchy. But
Thank you.
I have a question. Who's going to speak for Maggie this year, if she's going to talk? And also, Matt, how long are you going to be able to hold off before the censors and everyone in the advertising industry tells you can't write the way you write anymore?
As far as the censorship show goes, it's a constant. I wouldn't call it a struggle, really. It's more of a slight shoving match on certain words we can say and can't say, and we trade word A for word B, or two word Bs for a word E or F. Well,
like ordering in a Chinese restaurant.
Yeah, we don't use word F, but
we do use word B a lot.
Yeah, I know. You make a buzzing noise every time we buzzer sound every time.
Yeah.
We use the B word, B being but, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good word.
But anyway, no, that's not a major problem. Pretty much, I think when you have a show that's does as well as The Simpsons, the people who would otherwise tamper with it are keeping their hands off.
Money talks, huh?
Yeah.
And Maggie does. And Maggie doesn't. Is that correct?
And as far as Maggie talking, there were rumors. The National Enquirer said that Elizabeth Taylor was going to be the voice of Maggie.
She's so busy with all that other stuff. How could she make the time?
And that's not true. I will be the first to say. And nor is Madonna Bart Simpson's girlfriend, as the National Enquirer also said.
Are you sure about that one? That she's not? Because I thought well, anyway.
Oh, well. Anyway, so as far as for Maggie talking, we actually have a story in the works where we will possibly hear Maggie talk. I can't believe it myself.
Wow.
But we've got a way of doing it.
This is news.
Yeah, this is
Rip out the front page. What's the best, most bizarre censor note you guys have gotten since the show started?
Oh, gee.
I'll tell you my favorite while you're thinking.
Okay, what's your favorite?
It was maybe it was during the Three-Eyed Fish show. Mr. Burns is sitting in his office, and he's very depressed, and he's having a glass of cognac. And he walks out to his limousine, and Homer goes out to the parking lot, and they have a conversation, and Homer comes up with the idea that, why don't you run for governor? Then you could tell everybody what's safe. And Mr. Burns is so delighted with this that he invites Homer into his limousine for a ride home. Now, this is a show that depicts a nuclear plant polluting the environment carelessly and all sorts of other things, and the head of the plant running for governor so he can protect his own behind. The censor note on that scene, if I recall, was Mr. Burns can't drive the car because he's had a glass of cognac. Am I not correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought that was wacky.
Well, he was weaving and bobbing, as you recall, also.
Yeah.
No, there are notes like that. We get continual requests to have Homer wear a seatbelt while driving the car. And I keep on telling them, The Simpsons are not good examples. Don't use The Simpsons as the way to behave. If The Simpsons say to do something, don't do it.
Well, this gets back to that whole thing about The Simpsons as role models, which maybe we can get into, but let's talk to Chuck in New York. Good evening, Chuck.
Hi, Harry. Hi, Matt. I'm a great fan of The Simpsons. I also happen to be a fourth-grade teacher. And I was wondering, first of all, how seriously you take some of the criticisms that have been leveled at the show as being a bad influence on children's behavior.
Great.
And also whether or not you've had to alter the show in any way because of that.
No, we don't. I personally don't take the criticism seriously. Look, I think that, as you know, teachers have it very hard, and I'm not trying to make their lives more difficult. I don't think the show does. I think what makes kids' lives difficult as far as stuff on television, and speaking of cartoons, is bad storytelling, bad dialogue, bad writing, and TV cartoons are full of that stuff. The Simpsons is a smart show. It rewards you for paying attention. It's full of hip references and literary references, and there are jokes that you won't get if you're in the fourth grade. But if you watch the show again in syndication in 10 years, I think you will get it. So I think it's a good show. And also,
odd that you would feel that way, Matt.
and also, once again, The Simpsons are not role models. Kids are not that dumb. Kids know that you don't act like Bart Simpson. You could admire him and be on his side, but you don't have to, ride your skateboard, over the sides of cliffs.
It's always puzzled me that people think that the heroes or the lead characters in comedy shows should be seen as role models anyway. They're comedic supposedly because of their flaws, and that's why you like them and laugh at them. Dave in Michigan, you're on the air.
Yes, I'm calling for Matt. We get the Detroit Metro Times here with Life in Hell. My question is there going to be a cartoon series featuring Life in Hell in the future?
Okay, Life in Hell is the weekly comic strip that I draw for the jaded alternative underground newspaper scene. It's not nowhere near the popularity of The Simpsons, but it's this little thing with rabbits and guys in fezzes.
And boy, you merchandised the heck out of that too, Matt.
Well, that was a warm-up. The Simpsons were. No, yeah, of course, I would love to do that as a cartoon series. I've talked a little bit about doing it, and The Simpsons right now takes up a lot of my time, as you can tell by the dark circles under my eyes. But when I get enough time off, I will definitely try to make Akbar and Jeff and Binky and Bongo and Sheba and all the rest dance the mambo on primetime TV. That is my goal.
You've heard it here first, along with the fact that we've made news twice now, the Life in Hell series and Maggie Talks. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if we can stand any more news, but we will be back with Matt Groening, the creator of The Simpsons, for more of your phone calls and more conversation here on Talk Live. And we have more guests coming up. We have dancing girls, we have a band, we have, we'll teach you how to repair your car, all of that coming up right here on Talk Live, so stay with us. Hey, we're having some fun. It's a party. Don't you understand? There's nobody here, but it's a party. And I'm talking with Matt Groening, creator of The Simpsons. Matt, let's take some more phone calls. Tony in Massachusetts, you're on the air.
Hi, you wild and crazy guys.
We're nuts.
Matt, I'd like to know when you created Bart, did he remind you of anyone from your childhood? Because that's how I kind of was when I was a kid.
It was based on you.
It was.
Tony, if I were you, I'd get a good lawyer because there's a royalty deal here.
The check's in the mail, right?
Yeah.
It was not based on you. No, Bart was a combination of me, my older brother, Mark, and the kids in the neighborhood, a bunch of, and every boy.
He's an every
and every brat.
Yeah. Speaking of lawsuits, what's happening with this Tracy Ullman deal?
I don't know. I don't know. She's not suing me. She's not suing.
Not suing me.
So yeah, I have no idea how that's going.
Okay.
You're referring, of course, to the lawsuit in which Tracy Ullman is asking for a percentage of The Simpsons' profits.
That's correct.
Because it was on the
Tracy Ullman show originally. That's correct. David in Washington, what's your question for Matt Groening?
Hello. I heard that you guys could have been up for an Emmy Award, but you guys couldn't because you guys are animated cartoon, but the Emmy Award said you guys can prove the reason why you can get an award.
We did get a special Emmy, but I don't know if it's really official. No, actually, yes, we're in the animated television show category for some strange reason, and there was some talk about putting The Simpsons in the best comedy category for some strange reason.
Why would they do that? Yeah.
And I just don't think it had ever come up before. If anybody had considered putting an animated show up against grown-up comedy. And I would prefer to be in the grown-up category myself and lose. But, you know, that's not the way things work. But it really is a thrill to beat Garfield and the Smurfs. And no, I think it's
You're angry, you're bitter,
I'm very bitter.
No. And you're acting now. You're acting like it doesn't make any difference to you.
No, it really doesn't. I've had 2 Emmys now, okay? I got 2 Emmys.
Two animated Emmys. You know?
Look. People who come over to the house don't know that.
Until they read the engravings and they go...
No, it's up on a mantle so they can't read it. A very high shelf.
You think
Those things are lethal, by the way. They're sharp.
Yeah, I know.
By the way, this was not an Emmy. This is another Bart Simpson piece of merchandise. Can you tell if it's a bootleg or not? Look, a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle on the front.
I would say bootleg.
Bootleg. Also, notice the bad teeth.
Bad teeth.
Yes.
Nice piece of work.
Thanks.
Jim in North Carolina, your question for Matt Groening, if you so desire.
First of all, Harry, I just want to let you know you're no Mel Blanc, but you're close.
Thank you.
Mel Blanc, by the way, Mel Blanc was the most famous graduate of my high school in Portland, Oregon, Lincoln High School, and he came back when I was in school in 1969 and cheered everybody up with the most incredible assembly that I ever experienced. It was great. It was really an honor to have gone to the same school as Elmer Fudd.
I actually worked with Mel Blanc when I was a child actor on the Jack Benny Show, and he was a very nice person, and he saved me from terminal embarrassment one day, a story I'll tell later. But your question.
Yeah, well, I'm 46 years old, and I grew up with all them characters, and Rocky and Bullwinkle, too. And I was just wondering which one of those, Matt, did you like the best, or did you watch those, and if any of them inspired you to what you do?
I loved Rocky and Bullwinkle. I thought it was a great show, and it was the one cartoon show that I could watch with my parents, and they laughed at some different jokes than I did, but they laughed at the show, and for some reason they refused to watch Yogi Bear and Huckleberry Hound and the Flintstones and so on, but they would watch Rocky and Bullwinkle, and so I wanted to show, when I grew up, that people could watch with their parents and kids and vice versa.
Why didn't you?
Well, you know, what I tell kids to do who wear their Bart Simpson shirts to school and get in trouble, wear them inside out. That's a tip. And and if your parents don't allow you to watch the show, tape it. Get your friends to tape it. You know, smuggle those bootleg tapes back and forth on the playground.
One last question I have to ask you: how many different messages has Bart written on the blackboard at the beginning of the credit sequence of the show?
Well, there's virtually. I think there's almost. We don't do one new one for every show, but almost every show, and we've got 61 in the works now, so there'll be 61 messages.
Wow, that's a collector's item. Matt Groening, creator of The Simpsons. A thrill to talk to you by satellite for a change, instead of across the table at the Daryl Zanuck Theater at 20th Century Fox, where I'll see you, I guess, next week, yeah?
You're not going to be there on Monday for the big premiere party?
Yes, I will. There's a big premiere party. I'm invited. I'm excited.
You're invited.
Thank you. I'll see you there.
Are you going to dress up? You going to dress up?
No more than this. Well, you can't see this, so for you,
Well,
I'll be dressed up.
But I'm still laughing.
Matt Groening is leaving our studio now and will be parking in the sheriff's space on his way out. Thanks for joining us, Matt. Coming up next, the future of network news with Steve Friedman, executive producer of the NBC Nightly News, and with Reuven Frank, former president of NBC News. We'll be right back.